So we're talking about pretty big change for a lot of people, when we look at the sort of lifestyle and, not just the lifestyle, but the routines and the mindset shift. And I guess, a lot of people need help with that, true?
Well, I think first of all, a lot of people, forgetting what the subject is or what the activity is, a lot of people just behaviourally don't deal well with change. Some people, it's just their core behaviour around any sort of change is challenged. People are change challenged. There's a behavioural style, which is a particular behaviour where they need lots of time and lots of good reason and validation to make a change.
But I guess even people that, like change. I mean, there's lots of people who like change.
I love change.
Yeah, but they do. They'll switch around different exercise routines. They'll switch around different eating patterns. They're quite comfortable with change, but they still need some level of support because whether it's food preparation, whether it's looking after the kids while you go to the gym if you're a busy mom, if it's you need parents' help if you're a uni student, or you're living at home and you don't contribute to the household, but you want special food buying because you want to do the keto diet, and I can think of a lot of examples where people are going to need to ask for help of some kind, not necessarily financial or. But just the basic kind of practical things to make their lifestyle changes work.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we keep saying this, but we are playing a long game. So this isn't a change that's going to happen in a week, and then it's back to normal. So if someone's true to wellness and true to doing this for the rest of their life, this is the long game, but their world will change. And I think one of the first steps that successful people do when they embark on it's now time to tidy up my life and get well is to go through what's the impact on my life? What are some of the changes that I want but will expect, and how will those changes need to be communicated, and how will those changes impact those who are close to me? Will they respond positively? Will they respond negatively? So it's really, it sounds a bit wanky, but it's almost doing a little bit of a business case and a bit of a change analysis. When I embark on this journey, what are some of the implications?
I guess the first place for people to look in many cases is who's around me, what's my support network?
Yes.
So let's just say you're a busy dad and you're going to make the change, and your first step is to go keto.
Yes.
So you're a busy dad, you're going to go keto, and it means you're going to eat some different foods, you're not going to eat what the kids eat, you're going to ditch the carbs, get rid of the carbs, get rid of the sugary drinks, you might be eating differently to the family, your wife. So the first thing you're probably going to want to do is just, how am I going to work through my support network? Who's going to help me with this? What am I going to do when I go out with the boys for a couple of beers? What about when I play golf? My social, am I going to get peer pressure?
Yeah.
So sort of thinking through.
I remember this. When you talk about I remember.
There you go. So tell us what happened to you, Mike.
Well, because essentially I was non-keto. I always ate healthily, but certainly non-keto. Certainly drank a truckload of beer regularly, very social. And so a lot of those changes had quite a significant, obvious impact on the old Mike. And being the sort of person I am, I didn't think through the change. And so now I'm cleverer. I'm much older and much cleverer.
Nobody would believe that.
It's
not true.
I'm probably the second cleverest person in this conversation.
Exactly.
Top two.
I rest my case.
But I didn't communicate effectively. I didn't understand the change. And there was some pushback because the person that they knew me to be and the things they knew me to like to do, I was trying to not do those. I was trying to change how I was eating, change how I was drinking, changing what I was doing, and not fully appreciating not just the impact on me. I was trying to manage my own change, but the impact on my family and friends and my circle, and seeing how they were responding. Some very supportive, some a bit what the, but each had their own little way of dealing with my change.
So I distinctly remember a couple of situations where, people would say to you, have you got a serious disease? Have you got cancer?
Yes, it's true.
Have you fucked up in business? What is why?
Yeah.
And I guess for a bloke, for a
bloke.
guy, giving
For a
up
masculine bloke like me.
giving up beers,
Yes.
for an Aussie,
Yeah.
giving up beer is a big thing, because the beer and the barbecue, it's a quintessential
Yeah.
Aussie thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The boys round the barbie at the weekend,
Yeah.
kids playing, having a couple of bevies.
Yeah, it really is. It's an institution, and this whole you're a non-drinker culture is quite new and quite still not well accepted. But certainly, you've reminded me now that I do remember the whispering conversations around, Mike must have cancer,
Yeah.
or something's happened at work.
He's lost all this weight.
Yeah, he's lost all this
He must
weight.
be ill.
He's eating different. He's eating healthily. He's stopped drinking. He's pretty focused on his wellness. No one denied that I was looking better, had more energy, sleeping better. Everyone was positive on the results, but the driver, they're all bemused and confused as to what the driver could be.
Yeah.
And again, that was because I hadn't said, look, what I'm going to do is, so gather round people and listen and let me communicate this effectively with you. I just bamboozled, come home one day and said, right, I've stopped drinking. And all my friends went, what the?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start eating like this and doing this. And they were like, whoa, what happened?
And I guess, take one of those examples where, your first step was to cut down on alcohol, right?
Yes.
So you cut down on beer and you went to a light beer. Oh, light beer.
Princess beer.
Oh, princess beer.
Princess beer.
That's it. So you didn't tell any of the friends that.
No.
And so when you went round to their houses for, the beer and barbecue, they didn't have light beer. So, what did you do? How did you handle that?
Yeah, it was really just weird because I knew they didn't have light beers, so I'd turn up with light beers, and then there was all the jokes and the jibes around, what are you doing? You don't need to lose weight. Is it weight loss? What are you doing? They're not real beers, so every time we have a beer and you have two beers, you're kind of, you're levelling up. So there was all that masculine jocular, that jostling around the whole, you're not really a real bloke because you're not drinking full strength beer. And then, there was just then there was the second level of seriousness as to, okay, so bullshit aside, why are you drinking light beer? And when I said, look, I'm just wanting to improve my wellness. I've been through a phase where I've done a bunch of drinking and a bunch of socialising, been fairly fit and looked after myself to some degree, but let that bit go. And now I just want to get in shape and look after my wellness. And there was there's got to be more than just that. There's this real surprise and this real sort of, doubt that I was telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see it, they didn't get it. And because I hadn't managed their expectations or explained it
Yeah.
the best possible way.
So you've got that whole impact, which we might explore further in probably on another one of these sessions. I think we should dig
Tell
deeper
you some
in that.
stories. The Bali boys trip.
You can tell us some stories, Mike. But
Go on a drinking trip with a non-drinker.
But for now, let's be real practical for people. If people are going to do this and they're going to get it right, because what we always say to people is just do it.
We do.
We say just do it. Don't procrastinate. Stop reading about stuff. Just get on and do it.
Now, when we say do it, it's interesting because we talked about this earlier. Doing it is not the research. Doing it is not the blogging. Doing it is not the jumping on the thousands of Facebook groups and chatting to people that I'm going to. Doing it is actually pulling your friggin' finger out and doing it.
And I'm sick of telling people. I am sick of telling people, just do it. But
Just do
all
it.
right, it's easy for
Stop
us
ranting.
to say. Easy for us to say, we've done it, right?
Yes,
We've
we
been
have.
there, we've done it, but we've got the experience. So first step, practical steps, find your support network. Think about who it is that your change is going to impact, and think about who in your network can help you. Maybe keep you accountable. Maybe, like I said, go to the gym. Maybe do some cooking with you, whatever it is, and whatever you need. And then think about how to tell them and how to ask them.
Yeah, so first of all, when you find your support network, it's really interesting to cast the net wide, because you've got to, I didn't think that me going to a ketogenic lifestyle and stopping drinking was going to have a significant impact on my kids. But it really did. In fact, my little one at school the other day said Daddy's favourite food is ketos, whatever ketos are. So when you're casting your net, you cast your net and make sure everyone you have a touch point with, be they in your family, your friends, your social, your work, all those areas. Then we have a touch point with maybe in some way impacted by this change. And it's how important that person is to you, what are the ramifications of those touch points, making sure that you look at everyone that could possibly be influenced or impacted by you changing your lifestyle, and making sure you include those in how you communicate and manage that effectively.
And I guess the hard bit about it is when you're going into it, you actually don't know that. You don't realise.
That's why we're here.
You don't realise. Oh. You don't realise it's going to be a radical change.
No, you don't.
And it is a radical change.
It is.
It is hard, and you often don't realise. It is for life, it is strict, it's all these things, but when you start on day one, you don't know that, and so you don't always know who to communicate to.
No.
But you will, as you step along your journey, especially through that first 30 days, the first 90 days, you'll find points where you do need to communicate, or you do need to get some help, or somebody doesn't understand. So what are your tips? What are your top tips?
So I guess another bit of wanky speak, I think you need an elevator pitch. And the elevator pitch is really just a summary of what are you doing and why you're doing it.
That's very wanky speak.
It's very wanky speak.
Say it practical.
So an elevator pitch is simply where someone says to you, Mike, why are you exercising more? Why are you stretching? Why are you doing cold? Why are you eating? Why you stop drinking? So when someone asks you, why are you suddenly changing what you used to do and doing something different? Now, it could just be the ketogenic lifestyle. It could just be you've just gone keto. Or it could be you've looked at some other wellness things as well. But someone says why, it's good to put a bit of thought into the why and be able to communicate that effectively to whoever you're communicating with, because you will get asked a bunch of times. When you go to a cafe with your mates or your girlfriends or whatever, and they order the muffin and you don't, and someone says, what's going on? Why are you not having the regular Friday morning after school drop-off muffin?
So basically, be ready.
Be ready.
It is a change. Be ready for people to be shocked. Reactions anywhere from supportive through to completely shocked and I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Yes.
Because if you don't do a muffin, after the school drop-off, I don't want to.
If we don't do muffins, the friendship's over.
Friendship is over. So you're gonna get that supportive through to that. So be ready for it. And then your next tip is be ready to explain. So
just on that point, I had a mate of mine who said, we talked about beers, and he said, oh, you're not drinking beer anymore. And I was like, no. And he goes, not really sure about that. I'm like, I don't give a shit, it's not about you. But he said, just like when we drink beers, we get a bit drunk and we say some silly things, and now you're not drinking, I'm going to be a little bit uncomfortable that I might say or do something, and you're going to be sober. And he was really put off that I was going to be sober in his drunk presence. We always had a few drinks and been social, but I was going to be sober, and he was at risk of saying or doing something that would backfire.
So you'd remember it and you'd throw it back at him.
But that was his negative. That was his like, whoa, I don't like you because you don't drink beer, so therefore you're no longer safe.
But isn't that interesting how, in the context of alcohol, how we don't realise the way that people will react. We think, I'm not going to drink, so I might not be accepted.
Yes.
But we're thinking about it from the perspective of, I'm no longer a drinker. We don't think that somebody else is going to feel uncomfortable
because you don't drink.
Because we don't drink, right? So it's a really different psychology.
It's incredible dynamic. So the elevator pitch, we'll call it an elevator. There's a wanky, I'm sure there's a right name for it, but it is the wellness pitch as to when someone says, why are you changing, essentially? And having a positive spin on why you're changing, being really clear on why you're doing it, and being really comfortable and positive with the message you're sending. I am doing it because I would like to lose 10 kilos, and I'm sick of feeling tired, I want a clear head, whatever it might be. So I'm super excited about giving this a go, and I'd love your support type thing. So you've got that constant, clear, concise message.
And that could be as simple as saying, my friend did keto and lost weight, and I'd like to do that too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be a fancy, so it doesn't have to be a big fancy speech.
No,
you just have to say, Mike lost a bunch of weight and he's got more energy, so I'm going to give it a go.
Absolutely.
And that's all you need to do, right? You just need to be ready to explain why you're doing it, because people, may be shocked. So, that's the communication out to people, saying this is what I'm doing, it's why I'm doing it. And then if you need to ask them for help, have you got tips for communicating? Simple model for communicating.
Yeah, simple model for communicating. And this actually plays back to a story with my son, who is 9 years old. 9 years old.
Nearly 10 years old.
He's nearly 10 years old. God. And we talked about communicating because he has this beautiful ability to communicate at the absolute perfectly wrong time.
The perfectly wrong
Perfectly
time.
wrong time. You know,
Give us an example, Mike.
you'd almost choose a time, it's just, you spend an hour getting to bed and he's just about to fall asleep, all of a sudden his eyes open, he goes, Dad, can we have a chat about a Lego cabinet? I'm like, what the? And it's, it's 10 to 8, 10 to 9 at night, you've just fought with him for an hour and he's just about to drop off to sleep. All of a sudden he wants to chat.
Yeah.
And it is a chat. I want to chat about a Lego cabinet. What I thought I'd get was, so it started with a conversation and then we sort of progressed it into a conversation about communication. And it's something that we've used, you and I have used when communicating with coaching. It's around a really simple 3-step formula. And it's good to have a formula because it helps you follow a process. Everyone loves a process. And it's around communicating. And if you put it in the context of, I need to communicate to someone that I'm going to go onto a ketogenic lifestyle. I'm going to start eating keto. So I need to communicate that message, and that person I'm going to communicate it to could be fairly close to me. So I've got to be really careful the way I do it, because I'm probably going to get one attempt to do it, and so I want to get it right. So the first thing I do, the first step in the process is the what and the why. So I think about the communication. What am I going to communicate, and why am I communicating it? So be really clear and have a couple of minutes thinking on what am I communicating to that person, and why do I want to communicate that? First step, once you've got that, the next step is the when. The when is important because at the time you're communicating it, it might not be the right time for that person, or it might not be the right time. They might not have the thinking time or the time to chat.
Makes sense.
So the what, the why, the when. Yep. And the last bit is the how and the who. So the how is that person best communicated to verbally? Should I send them a text message before we chat? Should I send them an email? Should I communicate in a different way because that person is better at receiving communication either verbally, visually, or face-to-face, whatever that medium is? And the who is important because is that person the right person? Because if I'm communicating a particular message, should that person be the person I'm communicating to, or is there another person who's better to communicate to? So I went through this with my son, which was great, and he now knows that the what and the why. What and why you're going to communicate it. When should you communicate? The best time, or not the worst time, and then the who you're communicating it to, and the what was the last one?
And the
who you communicate to, and the how. The how you're communicating, whether it's written.
Let's try that again.
The what and the why.
The what and the why.
What and the why is the first bit. That's really critical. Then the when, the right time.
How.
Then the how, and the who. Yeah, that's important. So if you get that 3-step process, and that really applies with wellness, ketogenic lifestyle, exercise, breathing, anything that you might be trying on this journey to wellness.
And life in general.
Life in general.
It's a great
tool.
Communication model, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, life in general, you're right. If it's worth communicating, it's worth communicating right, and it's worth using a formula because you're never going to get that time again to re-communicate. Once I've communicated something to you, and I go, oh shit, I screwed that up, I can't go, Lynn, just forget, rub that bit out and back up the bus. Communication's been lost, you've got your own perceptions, so I've lost the opportunity.
Is it? I mean, it really is a life lesson as well, because if you look at,
I do lots of life lessons.
students with parents, kids with parents, you look at, at work with your employer, any of those sort of situations, you can use this communication model, because at the end of the day, if you don't pick the right time, it's not going to work. If you don't pick the right method of communication, it's not going to work. If you don't pick the right person, it's not going to work. And I think so many people go and, they're only thinking about themselves. I've got a message to communicate, or I've got something to ask, or I need somebody's help. And they're not really thinking about the person that they're communicating to or with. And so they just rush in, crash in, blurt it out, and they hit a brick wall, or they're not listened to, or they get a no answer. Because they just haven't either had the patience, or they haven't got the right person, they just haven't thought it through. So I think there's so many people get frustrated with this.
And what else happens in communication skills, what we do know is everyone tends to communicate in their own preferred style.
It's natural,
So what that means is if I'm a talker and I'm a bit of a talker, I naturally want to communicate by the spoken word. But we have a couple of really close people in our world who we know if you go and ask them a question verbally, it's probably the worst thing you can do. We need to send them a message first. I'd like to talk to you about and if you give them a bit of visual time to read it and process it, we're far more likely to get a better conversation.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't do that, I don't need the text message, so I would never think to do that to myself. But with others, if you think through, I'm communicating to that person, what is the best way to communicate with them? Then figure out the what and the why I'm going to communicate. When is the best time to communicate with them? And then the how and the who. Are they the best person? And is the text message follow-up? Is it a face-to-face meeting, phone call, whatever it might be? What's the best way? So those 3 steps work well.
So
Problem solved.
there you go. So I think for anybody who's starting out, remember it's a big change. This is a big change. Accept it's a big change. Don't shy away from that.
Huge change.
It's okay to make a big change. Embrace the change.
Yep.
Know very clearly what you're doing and why you're doing it. Be ready to communicate that with your friends, with your family, with people in your network that it's going to impact. And then think about your communication style, the way that you communicate, and use that little simple 3-step model to get the message out and to get the support. You do that. You've got yourself a support network, bunch of cheering fans, and you can't fail to be successful, right?
Perfect. Winner, winner.
Done.